Hello and welcome to my hobby presentation. Today I want to show a little bit my painting setup and my progression through the years in painting miniatures. So first I walked into the GW store and got Citadel paints, some brushes and the Isle of Blood starter set. That's the old Warhammer Fantasy starter set with the Skaven and elves. And I brought that home and just started to paint. So I didn't had red palette or something at the time. I brought home one of the dry palettes from Citadel, and then I started to paint. And how that looked, you can see here. This is really the first model I ever painted. It's a Skaven, and the other army in the box set were the elves, and with the elves I tried to achieve a clean and clean look with metal and white. To paint white for the start was really a mistake in my opinion, because it took away a lot of the fun, because to paint white is difficult in my opinion. So I tried to paint them. The one benefit of the white painting was that I got some more brush control at the start, and also I tried to paint some metal on the elves. Here you can see the progression. This is one of the better models. After I watched some tutorials and something like that, I already have the gems on that model and some layering here on the dragon. And in my opinion, you can see rapid progression in my painting. I then stopped painting the elves some time and did some batch painting with the Lord of the Rings army. That wasn't so much fun. In my opinion, it's quite boring to batch paint. So I laid that aside and tried something totally new. For me, that was world building and building props. So I took some XPS foam, and here you can see one of my objective markers for tabletop gaming that I built. It's just some XPS foam and Mod Podge. And here, for example, is some type of bridge that I wanted to build, and it's not painted yet, but you can see there's some textures on it, and I experimented a bit with XPS foam. After that, I got back into the Isle of Blood set, and there's this griffin in the set, and this is really the first time I started to dry brush. And I think that worked really well. So this is one of the models I'm really proud of. I also did some freehand here on the legs and in the tail of the griffin. At that point, I tried to do non-metallic metal, but that didn't work for me. So in the end, I overpainted this with normal gold metal, and that is one of the models I have standing in my desk and on my desk and on my board here. And I'm very proud to look at it, and it's a nice outcome in my opinion. So after that I realized, okay, I'm more into this individual model painting. I then took models that I liked and painted them. Like here, for example, it's the Reaper range for the Pathfinder set. I took some models from there and others. This, for example, is an old bear from the Army Painter sets, which I will show afterwards. And then I got into tabletop gaming, started to buy a new army. This is Hordes from Privateer Press. The army is called Circle of Orberus, that are some wolf figures and other figures in the sets, which I did not paint it like the original set want to be painted. It's normally they are like green, black and golden, but I wanted to have that skinny look with skin and leather on it, so I changed the palette a bit. It was quite fun to paint, although it was also batch painting, and at the end I said, okay, I now try to make something different. The last wolves I painted in totally different paint schemes. You see here blue and green, for example. So the army doesn't match very well, but it was just more fun to differ the paints a bit and do a little bit more color on the miniatures. So what I then did was I wanted to convert from that Citadel paint pots, and I started to buy the D&D sets from Army Painter. Yeah, you can start with this starter set. There's a brush and some brush on coat in the set and the miniature. And afterwards you can extend that with a Monsters paint set. That's also the set where the Olber comes from. And the Undead paint set and Underdark paint sets are the last sets that in addition give you a bit more colors that are also exclusive in the D&D range. And in my opinion, it's great to combine them, as you get a really nice full set of colors with which you can really paint nice miniatures. And I like the dropper bottles much more than the paint pots. That's the pots from Citadel are for me really bad to handle. Although I got the vortex mixer. Vortex mixer was with the wetpalet, the vortex mixer was the best investment in my opinion. Yeah, so it was such a hassle to shake the paints, and now it's really you just do 30 seconds or something, and even the metal paints are perfectly stirred up. Yeah, so that's a small overview over my hobby area. I've also got some miniatures from the Blood Rage board game here, which are already primed, so that are the next figures I want to paint. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this overview and have fun painting minis.